This is IMT News.
देखती आंखों सुनते कानों आपको रशंदा जाहिद का सलाम। आप देख रहे हैं IMT न्यूज फ्रॉम लंदन। मुख्तार पानीवाला एक मेहनती, हमदर्द और खिदमत खल्क के जज्बे से सरशार शख्सियत हैं। अपनी जिंदगी के तजर्बात और जद्दोजहद के जरिए उन्होंने ये साबित किया कि अगर नीयत नेक हो तो हर मुश्किल आसान हो जाती है। वो बरसों से माजूर अफराद की खिदमत में मसरूफ अमल हैं और इनके मसाइल को समझकर इनके हुकूक के लिए जद्दोजहद कर रहे हैं। उन्होंने मुख्तलिफ फलाही इदारों और समाजी तंजीमों के साथ मिलकर दर्जनों ऐसे मंसूबे मुकम्मल किए जो माजूर अफराद की जिंदगी में आसानी लाएं। इनकी रहनुमाई में दर्जनों लोगों को व्हील चेयर, आले समात, छड़ी, माली मदद और मुख्तलिफ तरबियती मौके फराहम किए गए हैं। मुख्तार पानीवाला की जिंदगी एक मिसाल है कि किसी भी कम्युनिटी की खिदमत दिल से की जाए तो तब्दीली जरूर आती है। उन्हें न सिर्फ यूनिवर्सल मेमन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन बल्कि पूरी मेमन कम्युनिटी फख्र से देखती है। मुख्तार पानीवाला की मुतासिर कुन सवाने उम्री कई अकसाद पर मुश्तमिल है। देखते रहिए और हमारे साथ जुड़े रहिए। आइए देखते हैं पार्ट 9।
Hey everyone, I'm Mukhtar Paniwala, President of the Disabled Wing at the Universal Memon Organization. Welcome to my podcast, where today we're going far, far beyond Earth, to a place where about 15 countries set aside their differences and built something extraordinary, the International Space Station, or ISS. Together, we're going to explore how this global partnership was born, what life is like inside the ISS, how long it'll keep floating above our heads, what might happen to it after retirement, all the one-of-a-kind experiments that happen up there, and a few extra details you might not hear anywhere else. So let's start with the global teamwork that makes the ISS possible. Back in 1998, 15 nations joined hands and signed a historic agreement. The United States, Russia, Japan, Canada, and 11 countries from Europe. These include France, Germany, Italy, the UK, and more, all part of the European Space Agency. That's what's so special. Some were former rivals, some were scientific powerhouses, but everyone decided to invest in peaceful space exploration. Think about that for a second. Managing politics, budgets, technology, and even languages. They built on this giant trust, and over 2 decades later, astronauts from more than 20 countries, including most recently India, Poland, and Hungary, have lived and worked aboard. Okay, so what's actually inside this orbiting science city? Picture a huge structure the size of a football field, made from more than a dozen pressurized modules, all linked together in orbit like Lego blocks, except way, way more high-tech. The ISS is divided into Russian and American sections, though it also includes rooms contributed by Europe, Japan, and Canada. There are laboratories for all sorts of science, crew quarters with tiny sleeping bags velcroed to the walls, 2 full kitchens, exercise equipment, like a treadmill strapped to the floor so you don't float away, bathrooms, and even a glorious cupola, a dome of windows for viewing Earth. Imagine starting your morning with the most spectacular sunrises you'll ever see, 16 times a day. But it's not all just comfort. Solar panels as long as a jet plane's wings stretch out from the sides, soaking up enough sunlight to power the whole station. And there are docking ports where spacecraft like SpaceX's Crew Dragon or Soyuz capsules come and go, swapping astronauts or delivering food and supplies. Now let's talk about time. How long will the ISS keep going? Well, the first section went up in 1998, so it's been orbiting Earth for more than 25 years. Right now, the main partners plan to keep using the ISS until at least 2030. After that, most likely it will be gently guided to a safe splashdown in the Pacific Ocean, sometimes called the spacecraft cemetery. Some modules or parts might end up in museums as pieces of space history. And even as this ISS chapter closes, private companies in some countries are already working on next-generation commercial space stations, so the science will carry on. So what happens inside that can't be done anywhere else? This is where ISS truly shines. In microgravity, where up and down sort of lose their meaning, science takes a whole new direction. Astronauts have run thousands of experiments that literally can't be done on the ground. For example, scientists grow protein crystals in space that are impossible to grow as perfectly on Earth, helping develop new medicines. They watch how human bones and muscles waste away in weightlessness, leading to new treatments for osteoporosis and muscle loss back home. Flames behave in crazy ways. One experiment showed tiny blue balls of fire that don't happen anywhere on Earth. The ISS has tested 3D printing of human tissue, paving the way for future organ repair. Even the way bacteria or fluids behave in space is different, leading to innovations in water purification and air filtration. Technology is now used back on Earth, especially where clean water is scarce. The ISS is also a front row seat for understanding Earth. Astronauts look back at our planet to track hurricanes, wildfires, and air pollution, taking real-time images and data that help scientists respond faster. Space is the ultimate monitoring station. And then, of course, you have all the intangible things, friendships that span nations, astronauts learning each other's languages and cuisines, crises solved together, and that eye-opening experience when you realize there are no borders from 400 kilometers up. Our planet is just one fragile, beautiful home. Here's one extra detail that always gets me. Almost every invention to keep astronauts healthy, like recycling air and water or compact fitness equipment, has been adapted to help people in hospitals, disaster zones, or remote villages on Earth. That's a very real example of space collaboration touching everyday lives. To sum it all up, the International Space Station is far more than just metal and wires flying above us. It's proof of what's possible when about 15 countries set aside their differences and chase knowledge together. Inside are laboratories, living quarters, windows, and dreams, kept alive by astronauts and scientists from all over the world. The ISS will orbit for a few more years, then gracefully bow out. But the research, discoveries, and international friendships will keep paying off for generations. Thanks for joining me, Mukhtar Paniwala, President of the Disabled Wing at Universal Memory Organization. Whenever you look up and spot that moving light in the sky, just know there's a little piece of human hope racing by.
Rakshinda Zahid, IMT News, London.